what I'm going to show you today is a couple of things. What we've built here at SignalWire is it's a turnkey solution. We've brought everything on board that you're going to need to build an application to interface with, say, your CRM, with any other API that's out there. For example, like the one I do for Zendesk in ours that we've deployed here at SignalWire, she has direct access to that and opens that ticket and does those tasks. So I'm going to show you some shortcuts on that here. Has anybody here built something on conversational AI currently with voice? Just go ahead and raise your hand with a little hand raise at the bottom so we can kind of get a feel for that, and we'll move on. So what we have here at SignalWire is a scalable solution. You don't have to be paying a set fee to have X number of agents. You're not paying, if they're not talking, they're not costing you any money. They're available, like Abby said, 24/7, 365, come rain, come shine. They don't call in sick. They don't catch the flu. Those are the things that you have available to you. It's fully integrated with our other technologies, such as sending SMS, transferring phone calls, things of that nature. You also have configurable interruptions so that you can tweak and tune how you want your AI agent interruptions and response latencies to be. It's very, very low. It's very much kind of like the binars on Star Trek sometimes, how fast it can turn around and answer your question. And it's very, very human-like. We also have the concepts of conversational fillers, things like, for example, if the AI agent needs to run a function, you can fill out details of what it's going to do in that situation, like one moment, please, especially if it has to look up something out of your CRM. In addition, with the way that we have this configured, you're able to, before the call is even answered, you can dynamically dip your CRM, customize your AI prompt to greet the user, such as, "Hi, John, I see you have a ticket open, ticket number, blah, 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 which was updated 5 minutes ago. Would you like me to read the latest update?" Like, those are the types of things that you can code into what our AI agent's capable of. So what I'm going to show you today is we've put together a small demonstration of this so that I can, I'm going to put the link to this in the chat. This is a document that we wrote up that's got some how-tos in it. And then I'm going to share my screen and kind of show you how I've put it together. I've gotten this put together in two different manners, and one is going to be under the hood and one's going to be from our UI. So give me just a second here. And let's see here. All right, so I've put together this phone number, and I'm going to map it to an AI agent I built from our UI. So this is this AI agent that I've put together. Her name is Vicky, and she's a virtual assistant, and I've given her a function. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to make a phone call to this, and we're going to show this off. Let me get that number and then we're going to show the backside of this as well.
Hello, I'm Vicky, a virtual assistant. How can I assist you today?
What's up, brother?
Special teams, special plays, special players.
Is there anything else you can help me with today, Vicky?
Is there anything specific you would like assistance with today?
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you for reaching out. Have a great day. Goodbye.
And this is an example of one I built. Half of it is in the UI and half of it is in a backend system that I wrote, which we're fixing to show off. As you recognize, those are 11 Labs voices. So we have the premium voices available on our platform as well. So we've brought those to you so you can have a more realistic interaction. Now, what we're going to do here is, based on the how-to I put in the side there, I've put together this raw SWML script of what what that AI agent is. All right. And then I'm going to, we save that. And then we're going to remap our phone number to that one. So we can just process that raw SWML. So we're going to say SWML script, Vicky, save. Okay. Now I'm going to stop sharing this screen because I got to share another one for you to really grok this next step. Let me find it here. Let me find that one window. Got it. There it is. All right, so I'm going to run this application, and we're calling basically the same agent, but you're going to notice something a little bit different here.
Hello, I'm Vicky, a virtual assistant. May I ask for your first name?
Brian,
Hello, Brian. How can I assist you today?
what's up, brother?
Just a second. Special teams, special plays, special players. Special teams, special plays, special players.
All right, what day is it?
Hold on. Today is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. How can I assist you further?
That'll be it. Thank you. All right, so what I'm showing you here is, let me get my arrow keys fixed. Okay, so what this does is this did an API call using the SignalWire AI gateway. So if you notice here, when I asked it, what's up, brother, it called my function, what's up, posted all of this data you see here, and I gave it the argument of the phone number, which I really didn't need that for this function. This is just to demonstrate how you feed data back to the AI agent to get it to respond. So for example, you could be looking up a ticket number in a ticketing system, and it could be asking for the ticket number and passing ticket number and that into here. All I did here was response, tell the user special teams, special players, and it did exactly that. Now, if I wanted to give additional data, like a larger chunk of instructions, this this would allow you to just put it all in there. This is basically what it's going to use to answer the user's query. And if does anybody have any questions about this so far? Awesome, awesome. Let me go over here and find my other thing I need to get because I want to demonstrate something else here. And you kind of got to see the raw swiml that we did, but I'm going to pull it up here into the terminal so we can actually look at it, okay? So as you see, I've defined these functions here. You know, what's up? When the user asks, what's up, brother? If you notice, I didn't tell it in the prompt anything about how to use these functions. Now, this is one key thing that I see a lot of people struggle with. And the best example I can tell you, if I hand you a hammer and a nail, and then I ask you to hang a photo on the wall, you would infer that you would use the hammer and nail to hang the picture up. Our AI agent is that way as well. If you define your purpose of your functions correctly and all your arguments, you can even come down here and define some of these as required or optional when you define them. Now, this is just raw swiml that I'm showing you because this is the under the hood look at how this all fits together. So that AI agent we just called really had nothing more than this text prompt to guide it. Hello, I'm Vicky, a virtual assistant. And when I said, what's up, brother, it run the what's up function with the argument of my phone number. And then when I did the what day, when the user asks what day it is, it runs that function and returns whatever you return in the response value. So this response data here that you see that I've done here, that's how you feed. So see, I didn't have a handler for that function when it called. So no handler for what's day. So that's, you know, I had an error in that one, but definitely the function purpose is critical. Does anybody have any questions at this moment? It looks like the team is already answering your questions. Again, if anybody has anything that they want to have specific after this call, by all means, you can click the help button in the upper right-hand corner of your space. And I'm going to show you that right now so we can go over that. And I'm going to do a bunch of these little segments like this that show the basics. But right here, if you click this and go to support portal in the upper right-hand corner, you can open up a ticket, or you can even use the chat down here to open up a ticket. It'll even help guide you through the documentation on your specific questions. So I'm going to hint on something Devin just said. There's also things we can do with our prompting. Like if you want to train your AI agent to do a more complex task, there's options, and there's a guide. If you go to developer.signalwire.com, click guides, there's an AI section over context switching. And there's also a best practices guide that kind of gives you some overviews of what to do and how to do prompting. Also, it gives you some kind of understanding about turnaround and endpointing. That is how fast it can respond to a user's input, and kind of gives you kind of how that all works, how to draft a prompt, things of that nature to help you get started with the AI agent. And this was just like a very, very minimal under the hood look that I showed here. We could do dynamic SWML. You can get more complex with your functions. We even have, you can do serverless functions with our AI agent, using our data map. So the AI itself can call REST APIs and form responses without having to prop up a server. That is also a little bit more complex to do, but is very powerful. You don't have to prop up services to serve your SWML. Let's see here. You can also, for example, like function arguments. I think a lot of us, when we're working with like databases and CRM systems, like you're querying for date ranges or ticket numbers or things of that nature, you can define your argument as date time in PGSQL format, or you could even do in stirf time format and give it exactly what you want. And it's free to do all of that. There is the Santa Claus tutorial, Kim, that we have on the guides is a great example of calling functions with the data map and allowing the AI to be serverless. That was a demo that Devin worked on for Christmas with Anthony, and that's a great example of that. There's some complexities in there that I am working to get documented. So if you have any questions, just open a ticket or let us know. In addition, I think Nick answered your question about the specific guide for like MFA. There's a concept of metadata in our AI agent, and that is demonstrated in one of our digital employees that's in our digital employee repo. It's currently written in Perl, but we're working to get some of these things written in Python and Node, so that other people can grok exactly, because not everybody knows Perl, and that's okay. Um, but we got a bunch of examples that me and the team have put together in that repo. They've given you the link. We did a page for TADHack 2024 that outlines a lot of these. Also, some hints I will give anybody working with the AI agent. Humanize it, give it a name, talk about it like it's a human, because I've noticed programmers approach it like they have to code it. It's basically show it how to do it versus tell it how to do it. Uh, it's very easy to get stuck into that mindset. I want it to do this specific thing versus describing how you want it to do the task. And it's capable of some very complex tasks. For example, we have a RoomyServe bot that does room service orders. We did Bobby's Table. If you go to bobby'stable.ai, this is a restaurant reservation system we wrote. The whole backend system for that is on the digital employees repo as well. In addition, Bobby's Table has a Google business page with some quite comical reviews on it. So give it a shot, give it a call. Those demos are up and running. It actually did ensnare a real reservation from a real person. She called, made a reservation, called, canceled it, and then called to talk to the manager. So now I have to go back and write a Karen AI for Bobby's Table restaurant. So we're gonna have a manager there that Bobby can transfer them to. Any other questions?
There's one. Brian asked, what's a low-hanging fruit that they can handle with AI? Like, what's a simple use case, essentially?
Okay, so the really fun ones are like after hours answering service. Like where, for example, we have an example in a digital employees thermal thrillers, which was every one of the demos you see in that digital employees repo was a result of my direct interaction with something. And the one about the HVAC after hours, I had my air conditioner went out. I called the after hours number. It was the worst experience I've ever had with a live human answering the phone and still just not getting it right. And so that night, my air conditioner didn't work and I couldn't sleep, I wrote up a whole system. And basically, it's an AI agent that can collect are you a customer? Do you have a service contract? Is it under warranty? How old is it? What's its make and model? Are you the property owner? If you're not, can I get the property owner's phone number? What is your address? And I even have a version of that does Google address validation that we're going to put in for the actual demo. So if you give what my ultimate goal is, I'm going to integrate it with DocuPost. So when you call our demo of after hours HVAC, you will actually get a postcard in the mail from the fake HVAC company with uh, like a discount code or something, just thanking you for calling and using our AI. That's literally one of the demos that I'm going to expand upon in the next month or two. And that's the AI doing all of those steps itself and not you having to do them. Well, the pricing is fair considering we've brought everything on board. Very soon you'll have a new one. For example, if you want to do uh, things are related to like vector databases, we'll have that available as an API. So you can upload, say, a PDF of what you want your AI agent to be able to answer questions on, and it can be integrated with 2 clicks of a mouse, and off it goes. And you can make your AI agent more contextually aware of what it's doing and how to answer those questions. We could hook you up with sales if you have large volume. We could have a conversation with the sales team as well. We also have resources available to anybody that wants to develop on this. If you need some guidance, there's avenues for us to assist you to jumpstart your progress. Me and my team are very good at that step, so we're able to answer your questions and get you on the right track. And as Abby pointed out, I don't see this is not what I would see as like people need to worry about it taking their job. It's allowing your current humans to focus on more complex things that are revenue impacting versus some of the more menial things like collecting data, taking notes on the phone, those types of interactions that can, if your head's down and focused on an issue and you're having to answer the phone too, that just throws off your entire flow, and having the AI front end that helps you stay focused on something that you need to complete versus getting a perpetual interruption throughout the day. And our AI agent can actually like who do you want to be connected to and actually transfer the caller specifically to where they need to go. Or if it's after hours, it can take all the information you instruct it to collect, like what's your name, what's your contact number, or like for example, it could say, I have your number you're calling from is 555-1212. Is that correct, or do we need to use a different number? It can do all of those things, and it's very instructional, just text prompting, and it's pretty easy to do. Yeah, as Lynn's pointed out, it's a great compliment for current staff.
Yeah, for example, you could get really creative too, since we're having a discussion. You could send, for example, the transcripts of sales calls, have those automatically send to product teams, for example, or summaries of calls to your receptionist so that their job over the phone is now monitoring things and talking to customers who actually need one-on-one help instead of answering the phone for people who have basic questions that can be solved easily by AI. And then, of course, if they need to get through to a person, making it really easy for them to get through to a person, because we all know that no matter how good this stuff gets, it's never going to completely replace
Correct.
having a face-to-face conversation. It's important to make that accessible to people.
I also want to address something CJ brought up. Can AI agent integrate with Whisper ASR? Well, Whisper ASR that's available in the cloud today is not real time, so no. It can't. And you can't integrate currently with any other language model. Every other language model out there is not competent enough to run functions. So, and we've tried them all. It just won't. And for us to deliver you a product that's reliable, there has to be some rigidity there in those types of things. But we do have options for various services that work really well if there are specific needs. For example, if there's a language, since our AI agent is multilingual, you could have it being able to speak 3 different languages. But for example, if one of the languages is not supported by our default ASR engine that we go to, it will correctly dictate which one it needs to use for those languages and switch to them. For example, you could have English, Spanish, and French, and you could start speaking to the AI agent in French, and it'll just switch to French. And if you use the multilingual voices from, say, 11 Labs, the voice doesn't change. There are ways for us to do the HIPAA and PCI compliance components. There's also a potential, I've pointed out this about metadata. There are aspects of there are areas where you don't want to give the language model data. So if you don't want to give it, private information that it could possibly leak, you can stash that away in the metadata section of the AI agent while it's running. And the language model never sees it, but every time one of your functions gets called, you can access that additional data and act on it programmatically versus giving the AI agent every bit of the details, because you only want to give the AI agent what it needs to do its task. For example, one that we do in the Zen example is we do a verify customer, and it gives us the customer's account number and the PIN number in our function. We verify and validate that. We set all the customer record into the metadata, and then all we tell the language model is proceed to help the customer. They're verified, because the language model doesn't need to know anything other than that and to proceed. In addition, you get all of the post prompt. If you set a post prompt URL and a post prompt, you get the entire summary of the entire conversation, every function that was called. It's a big JSON object that you can ingest. You also have the option of getting that data on every function call as well.
We also have an additional question about using SIP messaging for this API, which the answer, I believe, is no there.
No, you can do a SIP call into our platform to an AI agent, but there is no SIP messaging API for it. No. So our AI agent, so we've got speech recognition, we've got text to speech, and we've got the language model, tokens in and tokens out. So as it's listening to you, that's turned into text and fed real time into the language model. When the endpointing is complete, the language model responds, that gets fed into the TTS, which generates the response, and that's what you hear. So all of these 3 things are happening in real time on our platform. Okay. The support team members to help us map it. Yes, Kim. Per our conversation yesterday, we'll have a call, and we can set up kind of like what that looks like. Our team can get you started there. And yes, the digital receptionist that's an easy one. We've done live wires over that before. There's blogs on that as well, and we'll be sure to link those from the page this is on so you can get those. Yes, a 30-second call is also 25 cents.
Probably worth to add that our billing is always done by the minute. So even if you're under a minute, you're still going to get billed for the minute.
No, there's a general misconception about using AI and voices for outbound calls. If you have an existing business relationship with somebody You can use it. The key differentiator is deception. If you're doing deceptive things, that's where you're crossing the line. But if you have relationships with people like appointment reminders, and you want to use these things, that's perfectly legal, and those are valid use cases. But like cold calling 1,000 numbers to try to sell them something, that's where you're going to have a little bit of a problem. That's still regulated the same as the do not call, and spam calling and things like that. But don't deceive, and that's the big differentiator on the whole thing. And I would stay away from political stuff until they figure that out, because that is a messy quagmire right now. Because people have been fined using generated voices that were deceptive, that were deceiving people. So that's that deception component that you have to steer clear of. Any other questions? UK and EU phone numbers to use with AI anytime soon. Well, the fun part is we do have a bring your own carrier option. So you can bring your own DIDs to our platform and bring them in however you see fit. We're already within the regions of the EU, so it would already be local. And Anthony, if you're not watching, Anthony's answering some really good questions in the chat as well. It's like I said in the beginning, it's a turnkey. Everything's on board. You don't have to go build this infrastructure to do functions. It's just there. It's kind of like CGI, where you can post data, get data. Kim, on the AI, the regulation on outgoing is basically you can use a voice, just don't use it in a deceptive manner. Like I said, if you had a business relationship with somebody or they requested a phone call from your company, that's a perfectly good use case that is perfectly legal. What is active pieces? Is that a vector database? Oh, look, I have not heard of that one.
Like Zapier is what they said.
Oh, if it probably isn't fast enough. Like Zapier is not fast enough for you to be able to. It's got to be sub millisecond to get the data. You don't want to sit there and wait 10 seconds for a response. There's an example that we did for Flows Flower 2 that is in our digital repo, that uses an open AI key to generate the flowers on demand, and to do the Dolly API call is a 10-second call. So we built a feature in called wait file that lets you play. So when it's making the image for the flowers you requested, you could make any flower you want: dragon flowers, phone flowers, database flowers. The thing would just dream them all up. And while it's doing that, all you hear is like paper folding and a box being packed until the flowers are sent.
We have one person asking how to bring your own carrier. We do have the ability to port in, bring your own carrier. I'll find the guide for that and paste in chat.
Yeah, there's a BYOC guide. If you get that. You don't port in that case. You just set up a domain app. Oh, Nick A already got it. Good job. I think everybody on our support team is eager to help y'all. We've spent really good time making sure the DevX team here, Devin and August, have been working with me really good to get the docs polished up. If you go through the guide, we have a whole environment called Wirestarter that we're starting to base some of our how-tos on, that gives you a Docker container to get up and running with an example in just a couple of commands. The first usage of this was during our TAD hackathon. We had people up and running in less than 2 hours, building products and solutions using our AI agent. Can it detect phone number spoofing? That is not the AI. AI is not responsible for that. That is, you can rely on MFA, but soon you should be able to get access to the stir shaken. You could also, if you're dynamically generating your SWML and answering the request for the SWML, you could dip any database you want and do that prior to even sending it to an AI agent. So you're not wasting money sending bum calls to your AI agent. And that's probably the next topic I'm going to be doing, is generating dynamic SWML for AI agent. Yeah, we do have APIs for checking for phone numbers and getting the data. But Stephen, using MFA, we have an MFA API that we used in the MFA bot that you could use as well. Any other questions? Anything you guys would like us to see covered in the next live wire? I think I want to cover dynamic SWML in a couple of those areas. Ticketing integration. I could show you how we did the Zendesk one. That would be a good talk as well. There's a couple of ways of what we do here, Stephen. In the post prompt, there's a couple of things I do. For example, in the bot we have working at SignalWire, Sia, she uses the post prompt to send me an MMS with a summary of the phone call and the call recording. So every time somebody calls SignalWire, I get that. In addition, in that hook, we open up the Zendesk ticket. We put in the link to the actual log, and it shows that. Let me show you something here, kind of what a log looks like, because I don't think anybody's seen that. Okay, so as we said, you get the full log of the conversation. And this is just my representation that I put together of this. And you can see it called a function to get the weather in Orlando and gave me the information and then hung up the call. So that's also information you get. I could probably roll that with the dynamic SWML and do the next one on both of those.